open up the Board of Commissioners regular meeting, January 18th, 2024. This is a Zoom meeting. We'll go ahead and have roll call. I am John Crawford.
Bruce Ansel.
Kimberly McMurray.
Matt Rigberg.
And
Jason Vanderbeek.
Joel Nielsen.
I don't believe Scott Fisher is here. Any public comment?
No, sir. There's nobody in the waiting room.
Okay. Go ahead and close that. Volunteer Pension Board meeting. We'll go ahead and open that up. Can I have an approval for the December 21st, 2023 minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now I need
Assuming there's no
approval.
discussion.
Approval of invoice voucher, yearly pension and disability dues to the total of $1,770.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do we want to have discussion about that?
Well, if just a brief, what's
Okay.
it for, Chief?
It's for our annual retirement or portion of retirement for the volunteer pension system.
So it's a requirement that we deposit this money on behalf of our volunteers so that they can earn pension credits.
Yes.
Thank you. John?
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Go ahead and close that and open up our regular Board of Commissioners meeting. Can I have a approval of all consent agenda? All matters with the consent agenda have been distributed to each member of the Board of Commissioners for review.
I will move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Discussion.
Sorry, discussion.
The only point I had was the fire marshal's report on that water main that was in his report, and that's a separate agenda item. So I'm good.
Okay, moving to expenditures for January. Is this correct?
We
Chief?
did,
January?
John. We didn't actually vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was there a second?
There was. It was moved and seconded, and then discussion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Moving down to expenditures. Is this correct for January, Chief?
Yes, sir.
Okay, expenditures for January are $1,114,701.33. And the consent agenda is the meeting minutes for December 21st, 23, staff reports, financial reports, and vouchers. Direct deposit payroll is $453,342 or $342.94. Payroll tax vouchers are $111,006.60. Benefits vouchers are $249,931.13. There's an L&I voucher for $95,425.07. Monthly expenditure voucher is $273,403.26. Capital projects facilities is $20,326.07. Capital projects $6,391.33. Any questions on that?
None here.
Moving right along, commissioner reports. Is anybody here from the local?
Scott was here.
Still here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I kind of skipped over this. Commissioner meeting reports. Does anybody have any reports?
Chief and I met with Ram Construction. that was driven in part by Commissioner McMurray's request at the last meeting to find out if there are local contractors that we could potentially use. And so we reached out to them. They're well-known in the community here. They've done a bunch of projects. They're very community-minded and oriented. Mike, the owner, is a former firefighter in Redmond and Bellingham. He's very interested in providing us any assistance that he can from an advice point of view, and I know that their firm is looking at potentially being sort of a lead contractor to organize the project, which would benefit, I think, us, whether it's them or anyone else, because we don't have a facilities chief right now. And so if we had an expert in the field who knows who's who in the area and has done large projects, that would take that load off of Jason and or one of the captains, or however we're going to manage this. So, Jason, you can chime in on any part of that. But for me, it was a wonderful meeting. They were, they say, hey, if you just want to call us and ask us advice, we'll give it to you. We really want to help you guys out. And we don't want to see you get messed up in the bid process or get stuck with a contractor who bids you a project and then has cost overruns. So, it's the bid goes to the low bidder, and then they manage to sweeten the pot later after you've picked them with, well, that wasn't included or that wasn't included, and they could help us watch out for that. So, Chief, I don't know, I defer to you at this point.
No, it was good to get a contractor, like a big contractor who's done public works projects, libraries, fire stations, those kind of things. Get their perspective on how the system, or how it should progress, or how they like it to progress. Where do they like to start having contact with the architect? How instrumental do they want to be in the design process? And just some both pros and cons, and pitfalls to watch out for. So it was just really good. Having never done anything like this, it was really good to get their perspective.
And my understanding is the other contractors that were initially put forward are not local. Is that correct?
Correct. But many of the subs are from the Seattle, King Pierce County area, and Commissioner McMurray had asked if we could get, when we're doing the contract review, which is what it's still going on, that we are able to add in a percentage of the contractors need to be local, and yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Thank you.
So I guess, well, we can talk about this under the agenda item, so I'll let that go. The other meeting, two meetings, one was the county commissioners meeting, which a resolution was drawn up to send to the council, which is in our packet, and is that a separate agenda item on there, John?
Yes, it is. It's an agenda
Yeah,
item.
under new business.
Under new
Okay,
business.
so we can talk about that then. Hopefully you've all got a chance to read that. And then our monthly meeting with Liz Loomis in preparation for the levy lid lift. They have been extremely proficient at keeping us on task and on target. Message letter to the editor is drafted and waiting for final approval. The first video conference message that the chief is going to give is drafted. I've provided some comments and input to that, chief. I had another one this morning.
I've got some too. I just need to hit send. So
Yeah, no, obviously I let them know. I mean, as much as they'd like us to respond to all this, obviously there's a few things going on in the district right now, and asked for their patience in us getting back to them. But I would say 90+% ready to go. And we're looking to roll out a few things, I believe in March. Is that your
Yes.
understanding? So we're moving along.
Does Liz have all the access to the local little social networks here on,
Yes.
They have a list that is bigger than anyone I've ever seen.
Okay.
Yeah. And sorry, my brain's not totally functioning right now. I had a conversation with, who was it, Jason? It was somebody that's on the chamber that was super supportive of our deal. Now I'm
I
spacing.
can't remember the name.
Sorry, my mind's a little preoccupied right now, but anyway, another person who was extremely interested in supporting our cause, and I think we'll have some good discussions on sidebar, whether it's neighborhood next door, or whether all these media accounts where people go in and express their uneducated opinions about things. Maybe we can sort of head some of those off, and get a real strong supportive push for this from the ground up. So anyway.
Okay, we'll move right. I'm gonna take all my county commissioner stuff, and that's a new business, so we'll just skip right over that. Is Scott Brown online?
He's in here. I haven't seen him or heard from him yet, but I can see that he's in the meeting.
Is he on duty today?
He is. They're not on a call, but that doesn't mean they're not busy. So let me shoot him a text real quick.
We'll just come back to him if he wants to have anything to report. Fire Marshal report, Joel?
Yes, good morning, Commissioners and Chief Vanderveen. As for the issue with the water storage at Semiahmoo, just a brief history here. The storage tank out at Semiahmoo, it's now reached its maximum capacity as it was designed. And that is that there's 5 different levels in the storage tank. It's a big cylinder that holds the water and naturally flows out to all the homes. The top is operational storage, where the pumps turn on and off to maintain, the topped off level. Equalizing is used during high capacity or high usage, where the pumps can't quite keep up with it. And then there's what's called standby storage. And that's where they have storage set aside to where if there's an emergency, like a broken pipe or a pump goes out, that standby storage is there to give them extra time to be able to fix the pipe or the pump, whatever the issue is. Below that is our fire suppression storage, which equates to 120,000 gallons of water. And the bottom of that suppression storage has to maintain a level of 20 psi or greater to provide water flow for fighting fires. Because the system is now maxed out, the Washington State Department of Health does allow for some of that standby storage to be moved down into our fire suppression storage. But because of the single source that's supplying the water line out there goes under the channel between Marine Drive and Semiahmoo Spit, if that pipe were to break, it's not a simple, 6 to 8 hour fix. They're going to be without water. And so I was not comfortable with signing off on, letting them take any of the fire suppression storage unless they had a second source, which there is what's called an intertie that the two pipes connect over by Horizons off of Semiahmoo Parkway. It was designed to send extra water down to Horizons in case there's a large event, but the city has ordered a pump, and they're going to try to pump water the other direction from Birch Bay to help fill the tank. That test will be taking place the first or second week of February once all the parts and pieces come in. And if that test is successful, then I feel comfortable enough to allow them to start nesting some of the standby storage into the fire suppression. And on top of that, they're going to be adding another pump to their pump house near the storage to where they can actually draw out of what's called dead storage, which is below that 20 psi. So they're working hard to try to get more water available for our fire suppression. And also in 2026, they're planning on putting a second line across the channel to have two sources, which would then alleviate all of our concerns. And we did have a meeting yesterday. In the meeting we had members of the City of Blaine and engineers from David Evans and Associates. They're the ones that do all the water modeling to show that the pumps and pipes will supply enough water for fire suppression and standby storage. And so after the meeting, I do feel comfortable if we have a successful test in February that we can go ahead and sign off on nesting the water.
Okay, like I said, I saw that note in there, and I just wanted to make sure that Semiahmoo Spit's at risk to just disappear into the abyss anyway. So it'd be, I don't know. They have a big earthquake or tsunami, they're going to be gone. So
yeah. If we lose that channel crossing, then Semiahmoo residents, the Golf and Country Club, the resort, there was no water supply available. But with this test next week and a second supply line coming soon, then we shouldn't have any worries.
Perfect. Thank you for your report.
How old is the original pipe?
I believe it was put in back in the early 80s.
Okay.
I don't have the actual numbers in front of me, but
Okay.
the pipe is aging. It's a cast iron pipe, and it is in salt water. They do have electrolysis protection in place. I'm not sure what the actual name of it is. I forgot now, but it sends an electrical charge through the pipe to help counteract the electrolysis from taking place on the pipe. But still, there's really no way to see what the condition of the pipe is overall without digging it up and doing tests on it.
Do we know what size that pipe is?
I believe it's a 14-inch.
It's pretty good size. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Joel. I see Scott's here. Scott, we'll revert back to you.
Hey, sorry. Good morning. Yeah, so thanks for having me. Not much going on. Just the year ended. We're going to announce promotionals probably at the end of this month for upcoming in May, I think, and then hired a few more is the plan. Other than that, if no one's aware, I'm sure everyone is, Leslie Smith's cancer is not doing well. So we've just been trying to do whatever we can for her and her family at this time. So that's all I have for right now.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. We'll move to unfinished business, Birch Bay Station 63 Phase 1 project. Chief, you want to go ahead and take care of that?
Sure. As Commissioner Ansel said, he and I had a meeting with Ram Construction to get a contractor's view of, what can we put in our contract? How can we move forward and be successful at both the design and the build phase? Bottom line is that the contract's still with the attorney getting worked over. We had some issues getting one that was editable. The PDF that they sent us, we couldn't unscrew it. So we had to get one that the attorney could edit. So it's still there going through edits. And as far as just to give you an update on Station 63, last year the boiler died, and it's a very odd one apparently. In order to fix it, we would have had to get a part machine that would have been about the cost of putting a new heating system in. We've got the mini splits in there for heat and air. It's a heat pump, so we thought, we're good. We'll just decommission the boiler. Turns out heat pumps, once you get below about 14 degrees, can't pull any warm air out of the atmosphere. So this last week, 63 was a little chilly. I want to thank the firefighters for once again rolling with the punches. We collected every single space heater we could find. Stand by for 63's electrical bill next month, but they survived the cold snap, and they were very gracious about it, and I really appreciate them being flexible and understanding that better days are coming. But that was certainly a brick building in 5 degrees. It just doesn't hold the heat, and it just it got a little chilly. So, but we out through it again. So that's my 63 report.
Chief, can I ask you a quick question here?
Yes.
We just had about, well, in my neck of the woods, about 12 inches of snow. I don't know what they have over there. I'm assuming close to the same. And then we've got rain coming, and we have a roof that's separating from the building, at least into the garage area. Are we anticipating any major issues with that?
The best I can say is I hope not. We haven't heard, or there's no signs of any kind of structural collapse. But thank you for unlocking that fear, Commissioner Reaper. I appreciate it.
It's in my DNA. I worry about everything, so that's one of them.
I would imagine if anything that was swollen has now retracted with the cold weather. So if there is an opening, it's going to be bigger than it's ever been.
So they're still in, as we're in the winter time, the way they've got things organized right now, they know where the leaks are, and they have ways to mitigate them without damaging the interior of the station any more than need be. And I'm sure during this thaw they'll be more than prepared, and I'll be checking on them, and it'll be a, if we see or hear any signs of anything, absolutely we'll pull them immediately and shut her down, and we'll move on from there.
Is there a contingency for like trailers on site to house the staff?
I don't have anything planned right now.
Okay.
The best we could do is we would probably we'd have to double bunk them at 61. We'd have to put that would have to be, we have the next piece on the agenda here, which I'll talk about, but we double bunk them at 61. And
Okay. Sorry to unlock that fear, Chief.
No, that's fine. That's good. Sometimes I forget. I mean, my anxiety only runs so deep, so I appreciate that.
Moving right along, it looks like Simiamu Station Project 62. Update on that.
Yes. Sorry. Last month, y'all authorized up to $250,000 based on the fact that if it was legal or not. My research and in talking, I haven't got a paper copy back from the attorney yet, but it looks, everything in the RCW says we can move forward by declaring an emergency. I apologize. I got in the office late and don't have those to show you right now. I will send those separately, and I will make a determination with Richard Davis whether we can move forward as is with what you've already authorized, or whether we have to potentially have a special meeting, a quick special meeting, in order to do an actual resolution to declare it an emergency. But by everything I've read and from my research, it shows that we're good to move forward with it, with the plan as an emergency, based on the fact that A, we've got a looming emergency at Station 63, and B, work in this kind of weather, northwest winter, we're continuing to damage the building by not repairing it. And so those two criteria meet what I can see in the RCW as an emergency, as well as other resources like MSRC and people that companies that chime in on public works and the legalities of public works. So stand by for that. Richard Davis will be back in the office on the 22nd, which unfortunately leads me to the next piece. If I can just move forward, my lines crossed with him and I didn't get anything back from him on the temporary battalion 76. My apologies. And I'll get some back on the 22nd. I got overwhelmed. So
There's the MOU, right? That was in our packet.
yeah, that's the MOU, but that doesn't reflect any of Commissioner Rigberg and the board had wanted to put forward a 5% incentive for those folks doing the battalion 76. And I did not get with him in time before he was out of the office. So I'm sorry. That was 100% on me.
That's still a separate item for approval though, correct? The MOU that was signed?
It doesn't technically need to be, but with the pay component and the fact that Commissioner Rigberg brought it up, it was the board had asked that it come before them. And so that's why it's on the agenda as a requested.
So should we table this then?
If we could, please.
I had two questions on that and I don't have the MOU up in front of me, but I did take a couple notes. I don't know if you can pull it up and I can just point you in the right direction. And I'm assuming Jenny's there listening as well, correct? I see her, she's muted.
Yep.
So the 1, 2, 3, the fourth whereas workload chiefs that are not able to adequately their regular duties. I think we're missing a word there, like
yes.
Perform.
Yep.
So when we get the next draft, if we could throw that in there. Sorry for not providing these updates before the meeting. And then the sixth whereas, or the sixth, I'm confused with the backfilling language. Am I missing something, or is the personnel filling the position? It's
an oversight. Yep, it's an editing error. Sorry.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something that
Nope.
Was a semantics issue, or if it was just an extra item in there. I'm not trying to be critical, I just I just like sitting up reading this stuff until my eyes glaze over. So
no, it's an editing error that we missed.
all right, no problem. We can put that in with the next if we want to table this until we get the other resolved. And trust me, I hope the rest of the board understands the amount of workload and stuff that's happening right now with the weather and Leslie and Sean and pipes breaking, and hopefully we can all be very patient with the chief and the staff as we hopefully start warming up in the next week or so. Whether that's good or not, because then it's a slush fest, right?
Believe
I recognize it's out of order, but can I just give kind of a synopsis of just kind of what's happened with the cold weather?
Yeah.
Okay. Just to let everybody, just to let the board know. So this last week with the extreme cold, we had leaks at 3 stations. Station 61 blew a sprinkler. The sprinkler system went down in the same area it went down, I believe, 2 years ago. The repair we did didn't work apparently. So a pipe froze up and burst, caused some water leakage, a little bit of drywall damage, and that was it. At station 63, the dry system must have a leak in it, and luckily it was noticed before it broke. A basketball size ball of ice on one of the outside sprinkler heads for the dry system, which started to leak back into the dorms. They caught it and drained the system. So both systems at 61 and 63 are drained. They've been in test almost a week now, waiting for the repair, waiting for the sprinkler repair crew to get out there. They're on their way now. Hopefully they should be at 61 here shortly. And then at station 68, which is the Enterprise and BBL station, we had a plumbing pipe get freeze and break, and luckily one of our astute tender operator volunteers stopped by. He stopped by quite a bit during inclement weather just to check on the place, found the leak, cleaned. He called a couple other tender guys. They cleaned it up, mitigated the damage, and that has been repaired already. And it was a fluke. That building used to be a flat roof and then had a peaked roof put on it. And there's an access hole between the flat roof and the peaked roof. And in the wind, that access hole got opened up, and it allowed cold air to blow down on some pipes to sit right underneath that scuttle, and froze them. So it was a 1 in a million.
We're just lucky that way.
Yeah. The crews, those are our three water problems that I know of right now. Station 12, the water meter, luckily this one's on the city of Bellingham. The water meter, when it started to thaw, it blew and caused a pretty impressive geyser outside of station 12. The crew got it shut down, and city of Bellingham should be replacing that shortly. It's luckily it's on the city side of the plumbing, so that's on them. But the crews overall, I believe it was Sunday, responded to 33 different water leaks or broken pipe calls. And I think it just goes to show that we are a critical piece in the community. Maybe not, that people kind of forget about us sometimes, doing the grunt work. And the crews are out there helping people mop and squeegee and clean up their basements and their kitchens and other places with frozen pipes. Hopefully we can keep that memory alive till August, because the crews are certainly out. Fire Marshal Nielsen was out at 1 this morning, and we're just helping people get through this winter that we're unfortunately not built for. So the crews have been extremely busy with just those kind of calls. So I just wanted to let you know what our people are up to.
Yeah, and if you can pass on our appreciation to all of them, and including the volunteer tender group who took it upon themselves to check that out and clean it up. That's above and beyond, and certainly much appreciated.
Will do.
Where are we at, John?
Okay, new business, Fire Commissioner Association resolution. It was in your package. Would you like me to talk, Bruce?
Sure,
wanna talk
John.
about that?
You were there. You can start, and I'll chime
Okay.
in.
Okay, so we got the letter from District 1, their board and their chief put out a letter they would like to move forward to give to the county council. There was some discussion at the county commissioners meeting, fire commissioners meeting, about some of the wording in the letter and if we should go ahead and move forward with that or not. Rich Davis has had a look at this. He has no problems with it. However, one of the commissioners wanted to make sure that all the county fire departments had a look at this before we did anything further. So that's kind of where it sits, and they'll talk about that, I believe, in their March meeting, if we're gonna move forward with giving it to the county council. And Bruce, I know you talked with Mr. Allen's boss, and he was the only no vote in that. So do we want to move forward with adding our name to the letter? Was the big contention on this being out there right now. We could either come up with our own or add our names to the current letter as stands.
And Chief, I know during our meeting with Liz Loomis, she was going to provide some feedback to this, but I was never CC'd on anything. Did you get anything from her?
We see.
One of the concerns that we had was, does this make us look good or bad if we send it out and are trying to garner support? I think one view was, maybe some of our voters would appreciate us standing up to the county and saying, hey, quit messing with us. We're our own political entity with elected people. You can't just roll in here and tell us what we can and cannot do without maybe having a reasonable conversation about it with us. So I asked the chief to forward it to Liz Loomis from levy lid lift point of view to see would we be doing any damage if we did sign on to this. And like I said, I did not see anything from her, but I don't know if you did, Chief.
I did. I got it yesterday and I didn't look at it yet. Sorry.
Because she had promised it in 24-hour turnaround. So it's been a few 24 hours since we had that meeting. I guess while you're kind of thumbing through that, did anyone else on the board? You weren't at the. Oh, okay. There we go. There's some edits. Weren't at our meeting where it was discussed by the county commissioners. What was your initial take on it? Were you supportive, offended, concerned? What, Matt? What do you think?
I think the presentation was off-putting, to be honest. It created a contentious environment where it wasn't needed. I think a healthy discussion is reasonable. I don't particularly have any issue with the resolution. I think the approach could have been more constructive in the meeting. That was my big takeaway, but I don't have necessarily an issue. I agree with how things are playing out and worded.
I'm just looking at her I'm looking. Who edited this? Liz?
Just Liz Loomis. These are Liz Loomis edits.
Well, she needs to, instead of. I don't like some of her edits so far as of right now, but I understand that she's not in the county realm. So there is a long history, and that needs to show up. That needs to be available to everybody. The county council has been involved with quite a few things over the years, and there's no need for them to be involved. This is my opinion, not the board's opinion. And having the meeting that we did, I understand that everybody wants to be warm and fuzzy, but some of this is okay. I don't have a problem with going out and trying to get information on if we should consolidate. That's been thrown up in the air many times, and it looks good on paper, but it just doesn't move forward in some aspects. We tried doing it with District 4 without any county help. And I think we could have done that if we wouldn't have had a sidetrack commissioner from District 4 at the time. Again, this is my opinion, not the board's. So as far as them jumping in and wanting to do this, I'm for it in some aspects, but again, I'm not. If they want to play ball, let's sit down at a table and hash this all out. And my take is county council never wants to sit down and hash things out. So feelings get hurt, things get said, and some people walk away from there with hurt feelings. And that's just the way it is. I'm all for this. I know the big thing that they had at the top was protest. That was one of the words that they didn't want to use. So they wanted to use the word objective. I'm fine with that too. But I think we need to do something. And if it's throwing it down on paper like it is now and throwing our name to it, I don't see a problem with that. I think that a lot of fire districts are okay with this and are going to be putting their names to it. It's very well written and it was very well thought out. So, but the blue lines I'm seeing here, I'm not really, and I'm just glancing at it. I'm not too happy with because, like I said, Liz Loomis isn't from Whatcom County. She's just giving her own opinion as well, and I understand that. So if we want to do something, write something of our own, I'm fine with that, but we really need to be careful with our words and our actions. So it's my 2 cents.
Chief, other than editing it, did she provide sort of any thoughts or reasoning with her edits? I mean, did she say, wow, this thing is really offensive, we should tone it down? Or did she, I mean, other than just changing it, did she have an opinion?
No. I will forward her raw email to each of you so that you can see that. I'll read it to you real quick here. Thank you, Chief. I did the best I could here. The county will ignore us, so we may have to do a press thing if your board is passionate about raising attention to this matter.
Okay. And
That was it.
that's, I mean, one thing I talked about, and I think Liz agreed, you know, the county has a much larger pile of information to go through prior to every one of their meetings. And I know that the council members are also, this isn't their full-time job. And to get another one of these letters like this, I would be surprised if they actually read it. And if they read it, do they actually want to do anything about it? And I had suggested at the meeting that perhaps it would be okay to send this, but it would be even better to follow up with a meeting with the individual representatives in the county and explain it to them so that they understand that, look, we're not, you know, we're not trying to offend you. We're just trying to show you that you offended us. And have a discussion about it, you know. I know that
I'm sorry, Bruce. I don't think it's offensive. I just think it's based. Okay, maybe I am offended. I don't know. But when you don't talk to us prior to moving forward, which the county council does time and time again,
right.
It's just not courteous.
Correct. Kimberly, do you have any thoughts on this?
No, I'm in agreement with all of you. It's not necessarily that we're against it. They just need to talk with us about it, and we need to work as a team
All right.
for the benefits of our citizens and our departments and our county.
Chief, what are your thoughts? I'm not wild about Liz's. I haven't read Liz's edits, but from what I quickly gathered, it takes a lot out of the message that was trying to be conveyed, and that message wasn't drafted haphazardly. I know that a lot of time and effort was spent on that, and it was passed through Richard Davis's office as well for legal review. So I guess at this point I'm not opposed to either creating our own or just saying we're okay signing on, put a signature page on that and add us to it.
So my thoughts would be that with the extensive edits that we only briefly saw from Liz Loomis, is that, and it kind of ties into what Kimberly just said, I think there's the partnership with the community aspect that maybe she is looking at this and saying this could damage our partnership with the community by sending out this type of message with this verbiage, and therefore adversely affecting our levy lid lift issue that we have coming our way. That was my initial thought. So maybe we need to gather a little bit more information from Liz as to the mindset behind that.
We can certainly table this. They're not going to move forward until after the March meeting was my understanding.
I would recommend that in order to gather some additional information before we approve something that would affect efforts on another issue.
If I may, I can tell you that some districts are approving it, signing it, adopting it, and sending it into the county. Other districts, such as South Wacom, have chosen to table it to the February meeting and take some time and consider their own edits to it, or consider how they want their message to be, maybe a little different from the original draft. So I do know that that's taking place amongst other boards in the county. And I would echo Commissioner Rigberg, what he said. I think we have to be, I think there is a strong message that needs to be delivered. I think we need to balance that with what, how do we want our communication to be perceived on a global or on a bigger scale than just the single resolution going to the county. I think Commissioner Ansel hit it on the head. Piece of paper is one thing, but actually getting in there and meeting, talking to the county councilors, taking the time to set up appointments and go speak to them, that's where we're going to get more traction than sending a resolution that maybe other districts have already sent in if we don't make any edits to it. I think we're better off doing the human interaction.
The county's going to get the message whether we sign on or not. So I'm okay with that. I think, unfortunately, the council member that needs to see this the most isn't a council member anymore. So, here, I'll drop this bomb and then see you later. Good luck with it.
I think she was a sacrificial lamb and all that.
I'm not sure about that. But
Well, and to show that I'm learning to play the ultimate politics game, I'm going to go ahead and also agree with Commissioner Crawford. This issue is the straw that broke the camel's back. This is a long string of county involvement in operations, and something that they become experts in. They come in, they muddle it up, and then they leave it in pieces, and the fire service puts it back together, and the commissioners and the districts put it all back together, and it functions until one of them decides that they want to get involved again, and then they come in and they blow it apart. And so I understand from a fire chief's view why there's so much frustration and anger from so many districts, so many boards. Like I said, this was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Well, I think we're all in agreement that we want to send out some type of message. I would also make the recommendation that for the community outreach and support component, we need to reach out to Liz Loomis, find out what her thoughts were on the edits, and that we should table this until we get that information to make an educated decision.
Sounds good.
So
Is that
put
a
it on
motion,
February,
Matt?
February meeting then.
Yep.
I'm sorry I missed that.
We'll put it on the agenda for February.
Roger that.
Moving right along, resolution 2024-01, appointing advanced travel custodian.
I'll move to approve the resolution.
Second.
Anyone awake?
All those in favor?
Well,
Aye.
just for clarification, it's just because Benina's left and we need to appoint our new
Correct.
finance person.
How about I put both resolutions forward together? Can we do that? Is that all right?
Well, they're separate.
Okay.
No, they're separate. They have to be separate. Yes, both of these resolutions are kind of boilerplate transferring of the advanced travel fund and the petty cash fund from Benita to Jessica as a officially, so that we can do the work with the bank to get the things transferred over in Jessica's name.
So resolution 2024-01, appointing advanced travel custodian.
Moved and seconded.
Moving seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Moving right along, resolution 2024-02, appointing petty cash fund custodian.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Board elections and representations at outside meetings.
All in favor?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you're in charge.
Somebody else needs to go to these all county meetings. I'm zapped. I've been going to them since 2016, and I'm old and tired at this point.
Fair
What
enough.
time? Sorry, what time are they regularly held?
They're held every 3 months. So we just had one in January, February, March. Next one's in
Every
March.
2 months.
Yeah, every 2 months. They're usually held at Station 12 at 7 o'clock. And Jason's been present the last few, so that's always satisfying as well to have somebody there that has video and audio help, as we've seen in the past lately. So
Do we know which day of the week they fall on?
yeah, they usually fall on I think it's the second or third Wednesday of the month.
I'll take that for you.
Thanks. It's all
You're
yours.
Thank you for your service.
There, Commissioner Rakeberg, there's an online component to that too as well. So if need be, you can chime in on Teams.
Okay.
I'll message that over to Holly Linville and give her your address as well. She's the secretary of the board, so I'll get that.
Right now, for the next few months, my Tuesday and Thursday evenings are filled till about 7:30 at night, but I can do a Wednesday.
Okay. Anything else, Bruce, on these outside
Yeah,
meetings?
so we need to elect a board chair and a co-chair. I will say that I am okay to continue as chair unless there is any objections. I have the time. I appreciate the working relationship I have with all of you and the chief. And unless someone is just dying to be the chair, I am willing to continue in that role.
Second it.
Third,
Fourth, I agree.
Thank you for your support. Yeah, we'll muddle on. I am committed to this levy lid lift process. I'm committed to supporting the chief and getting him more help. I am committed to getting our firefighters housed in better facilities. And I know the whole board agrees with me on all of those points. And then co-chair, John, are you fed up with us as well?
Yeah, so if Matt or Kim or Scott wants to take a shot at that, I'm more than happy.
I would entertain Kimberly if she's available and interested.
This is your
still
time to
listening.
respond, Kim.
But Commissioner Crawford does such a great job.
Oh gosh, here we go.
But I think you could do better. And it's time.
Builds character, Kimberly.
I will take the opportunity. Oh, give it a chance.
Seconded.
Matt's like, please, please, please. All those in favor of Kimberly being our co-chair for the year?
Aye.
Aye. I'm sure Scott would say aye if he was here. Thank you, Kimberly, for volunteering.
I wouldn't.
Is there anything else a representative of outside meetings that we want to talk about, Bruce?
So, you know, I will continue to stay active in the Birch Bay community. I have a good rapport with the chamber. I have a good contact in Birch Bay Village. I was kind of hoping that Matt would be our Simiamu contact representative if there is an opportunity to at least reach out to your community groups there so that we can schedule these meetings.
I'm happy to do that. As a matter of fact, I brought that up months ago, and we had decided to hold on to things pending Liz Lee's direction. And to what level of involvement a commissioner should have in the community here moving forward. I'm happy to do whatever's asked in that regard.
So we're like this close to having the rollout and start scheduling these meetings, and getting them on, making those contacts so that, you know, hey, we need to be, or can we be at your meetings in June and July or whatever it is. Obviously, we want to have these discussions well before the ballots are mailed out. And so, yeah, I would say February, no later than early March, we're going to know what we need to do and start making those contacts and saying, can I come to your meeting? Can I bring the chief to your meeting? Can we do a presentation? Can we have a question and answer session?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Just when it's ready and it's time, I'm happy to step in on that.
And the only other one that we monitor, and Kimberly has been doing that, is the Blaine City Council. And in my opinion, it doesn't mean that, Kimberly, you have to attend every one of those in person, but if you're monitoring the agenda and or just watching online and just, you know, keeping our fingers on the pulse of what's going on so that we don't get blindsided by another TIF project or, you know, something that guts the fire department, or we get, you know, someone's going to come in and build an 8-story building and we don't have the fire suppression capabilities to manage that. And that's no offense to Joel, you as our fire marshal. But you know, we need all the support we can get in these communities. So if Kimberly, if you're willing to continue in that vein, knowing that, again, you don't have to physically be there as long as you're monitoring what's going on.
And that's what I have been doing. I'm on their mailing list. I get the agendas and review what they're talking about and I've been watching online and some of them I haven't because there's nothing that really pertains to us.
Good, good, good. And your reports have been stellar, so we appreciate that.
Thank you.
I mean, I can't think of anything else. You, Chief, have you?
No, that would be it, I think.
All right, John, where are we at?
Policies, policy 0400, TAC 110, TAC 00, retirement service recognition. The policy was in your packet, had some edits. Discussion.
Chief, do you want to?
So
Enlighten
this
us
was
here.
this was a very old policy. Before we actually started having retirees, this was written up. It was kind of primarily, I think, for at that time, really the only people retiring were older volunteers. So this was a group that was put together. It included Jenny, members of the local, and some admin staff. Jenny really spearheaded it and came up with a more modern, more streamlined recognition policy. Turns out not everybody wants a shadow box and axe and all the other things. So it was the group decided that it would be might be a better way to do things, to give to do an allowance. We've had some members that just wanted they wanted a picture that had hung in one of the stations or in admin, or we've had people that want all of it, and that's great too. But just to have an amount so it's easier to budget for. We know in the contract there is a provision where there's an incentive for announcing your retirement the year prior. So if we know how many people are going to retire, we know, with whether it's 11 to 24 or 25 plus years, we know how much money we're going to need for recognition. I think it's just a more updated policy.
I don't have the policy in front of me. Did we?
Sorry, I can share it.
Did we come up with a new numbering system? I remember the 00001 thing.
We did. This has not been converted into the Lexipol numbering system yet. It's going off our old one. There's not a comparison in the Lexipol policy. So once we get it done, we'll bulk transfer, and these will be renumbered into a policy 1022 or something like that. It'll be much simpler in the end.
That's for John's sake. It's too many zeros and ones in there.
Like a computer program.
Yeah, it's code. Any questions, comments, discussion?
I think it looks really good as a guy that's already retired.
Thank you for those who worked on it. Do we need a motion then, or is this just an FYI?
No, you do, because it involves spending money. So you need to vote and approve it.
So can you scroll back down to the title of this thing?
Yes.
No, I can't see it. Where'd it go?
So I will move to approve the retirement service recognition policy as modified and as to be renumbered in our new numbering system.
I second that motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Thanks, Jenny, and all who worked on this for putting it together and bringing it to our attention.
Moving to correspondence, it was all in your package. Any discussion on that? Thanks, Bruce, for sending that letter to the people that were involved with the insurance item.
Yeah, have Chief, you gotten any feedback, or have I received any hate mail
No, sir.
at the office? Just
No, sir.
as a follow-up, I got my renewal notice this year and it went through the friggin' roof. I don't know. I mean, I went from a 5 to a 6. I don't think that's what's driving me. I think it's the insurance industry in general, but
As a
holy
whole,
cow.
correct. Yeah.
Mine went up higher than those people did, so I'm not happy either.
Announcement, board meeting attendance for February 15th. Is everybody good for that?
Yep.
Yes. Sure, it's on my calendar.
Did I hear Kim okay that?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay.
Same 10:30.
Yeah, well, yeah, I forgot about it until about 10:15 this morning. I had a notification on my phone, so it's a good thing I had that. Otherwise, I would have been a little bit late. So yeah, we got to get used to this 10:30 time frame. It's all good.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get out of bed now.
Yeah, exactly. Moving right along, agenda items for next meeting. I'm sure we're probably going to have 63, 62, and those projects should probably be put back on. The 76 and
Yes, please.
the fire commissioner resolution. Is that what we need for next meeting, Bruce? Anything more?
Oh, well, I'm sure some things will come up between now and then, but Chief, does that look?
That looks, yeah, it's a good starting point.
Anyone else need anything or want anything added?
Okay, it says we have an executive session, RCW 4230 .110 to evaluate the qualifications of an applicant for public employment or to review the performance of a public employee. Do we want to jump right down to signing the documents prior to like how we're going to do that and when we're going to do that before we go into it?
Jason's mobile document signing service will be around this afternoon.
Well, Jenny, are you comfortable with stamping my name?
She doesn't have a microphone, but
Do you have a stamp?
See, when you're chair, you get a stamp.
Vice Chair get a stamp?
I'm okay.
Thank you.
you got a microphone. Wow. I didn't realize she.
Chief,
So
I forget.
you don't
I
have to
forget
find
how
you
we-
don't have to find me, Jason.
Yes.
I forget how we do these executive sessions. Do we get
So
Thank you.
we'll need to excuse the fire chief and everyone but the commissioners. There will be no action after the executive session, so if anyone's listening, the meeting, there's no other agenda items other than adjourning the meeting after the executive session, so no action, and I need probably 10 minutes.
Okay. I'm going to take us off YouTube. So I'm going to stop the YouTube stream and the recording, and then I will step out. And if you would text me when you're done, I'm going to mute everything so I can't hear it, close my door, and I'll be out in the lobby. And then just
Yeah,
text
and
me.
Joel, thank you for your presence, but
I will be exiting.
you're
All right.
excused.
Have a good